Native image generation with Gemini 2.0 Flash is available to all as an experimental release in Google AI Studio and the Gemini API. Gemini 2.0 Flash combines multimodal input, enhanced reasoning, and natural language understanding to create images. This Gemini 2.0 Flash gives us some awesome features that will run through depending on when you access Gemini 2.0 Flash at aistudio.google.com. It might give you some sample prompts to test out the native image generation. So if you click on one of these prompts, then it'll generate an image according to the example that it provides. Before you generate an image, make sure your run settings in the right panel are correct. So for the model, it should be set to Gemini 2.0 Flash Experimental. Right now it's under the preview section. There's the output format where you can choose between text, and of course we want images and text. And then there are some other settings along with advanced settings. A lot of AI models have trouble generating natural looking fingers and toes for characters with human likeness. So first off, we'll generate our own simple image, a photorealistic image of a woman in her late 20s or early 30s sitting at a desk planning her day in her home office where it's well lit from the morning sunshine. We'll take a closer look. First, we'll collapse this left navigation menu and then zoom in a bit. With this image, you can download it or view the full image with these icons here. So if we take a closer look, we can see it's pretty good. The fingers look pretty good. 5 fingers for each hand. One thing I noticed immediately about the native image generation for the Gemini 2.0 Flash is it generates different images even if you use the same prompt. With other models like Flux, which is a great image generation model, if you feed the model with the same prompt using the same settings, it'll generate the same image. I clicked on the writing utensil icon for the prompt to edit it. I didn't actually edit the prompt, but I only clicked on the Gemini icon to rerun the prompt. I'm just going to click on these double check marks to stop editing, and we'll take a closer look at the image. This image does have an AI feel to it. It doesn't look as photorealistic as the previous one. With her face, it kind of has this laminated look, but the fingers look okay. 4 on the right hand, and the fingers look okay on the left hand, but the hand, the actual hand, looks elongated on the back end. This looks like it's her wrist, so that's kind of abnormal. So this one can be improved. Here's another image using a slightly different prompt with the woman looking at the viewer and waving with one hand. I did have to specify her waving with only one hand. Gemini generated a previous image depicting a woman waving with both hands, but the right hand was blurry. I'm wondering if Gemini attempted to generate a motion capturing image like this, but now we'll try generating variations of this photorealistic woman at her desk in her home office, and it gives us several variations, some of which do look the same. Actually, the last several look the same, and so we're going to click stop. So you could probably specify the number of variations that you're looking for. But looking closer at these images, we see the first 2 actually look like they're the same. Just to take a closer look, that's not bad. And then the other images, you can see there's this misplaced hand. It looks like it's above the desk. Notice in the same chat, Gemini 2.0 Flash generates images of a similar looking woman and environment to the first image. This leads us to the next feature, character and setting consistency. Unless you specify you want a different character, it'll use the initial image and character as a reference. Again, our woman and setting don't look exactly the same as the first image, but we're going to delete this prompt and the rest of these images. As a side note, we're going to specify for Gemini that we want a photorealistic image of a different woman, and the rest of the prompt will remain the same. So the woman still looks similar, but the environment changed. These prompts only generate images. Let's start a new chat for both text and image output and continue with consistent characters. We'll look at creating a story with characters and background or environment settings. You can iterate on the story and provide feedback. I have a few videos on creating consistent characters with flux and stable diffusion. I'll link those in the description. But with Gemini 2.0 Flash, you can create a story for content with one-shot prompting. We'll use this prompt to generate a 5-part story about a Porsche GT3 on a road trip starting from the East Coast to the West Coast, generating an image for each scene. So far, it's generating more text than the example provided in the announcement for this native image generation model. So if we take a look at the story here, part 1, the departure, coastal sunrise, vibrant orange Porsche, but it looks like it's yellow. Early morning light on a winding road overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Sun is peeking over the horizon. Car is packed in a sleek low profile duffel bag visible in the passenger seat. And that image looks pretty good. Let's enlarge it. That looks very detailed. We have the shadow here. The landscape looks pretty good. I'm going to need the car enthusiast to scrutinize the GT3 for me. But if we look at part 2, the Appalachian curves, mountain majesty. So it carves through a scenic mountain pass, winding asphalt. The road is challenging, tight corners. The sound of the engine echoes off the rock faces. And this looks pretty good. It's a blurred image with a focus on the car itself. Part 3, Midwest horizon, open road freedom. Landscape is flat, fields of golden wheat or corn, embodying the spirit of a classic road trip. So again, looks pretty good. And then part 4, desert sunrise as the day draws to a close. Stark beauty of the Southwest, towering red rock formations, shades of various colors. Another great image here, except the brake calipers are a different color. In the first images, they were red. Here is yellow. Part 5, Pacific arrival, golden coast, sparkling under the afternoon sun, near the Pacific Ocean, palm trees, slightly dusty, and the journey is finished. So the car finishes the trip with yellow brake calipers here. But overall, this looks awesome. Let's create another story with a different artistic style. So this time, we'll use this prompt for a 3D cartoon animation style, 5-part story of a male lion cub growing up in Chicago and landing a job in the city. So the second image looks like it's missing our character. Again, it's missing our character. It just shows the city here. And the final image has our lion cub all grown up. But let's take a look at the actual text. So part 1, Lincoln Park Wild Child. Our cub's name is Leo, born on a quiet corner of the Lincoln Park Zoo. Tumbled onto the sidewalk, navigating the concrete jungle, growing up on the streets, pizza crust. Oh, it's kind of a rough life. Made friends with a wise old stray cat named Patches. Okay, another character, but we don't have the characters depicted. in the image, a bit of dirt on his fur, intelligence, observing the world around him. Part 3, discovering the world of finance. Oh, finance, bro. Peeking through the revolving doors, flurry of activity, Patches followed him and explains what he's seeing. Leo's captivated. Part 4, the internship. So Leo somehow manages to land an internship, but again, he's not depicted in this image. His colleagues were surprised, but he displays a sharp mind for numbers, ability to spot trends, calm, learns the jargon, aced spreadsheets, king of the corporate jungle. So the image gives us male hands instead of lion paws. Leo's mane had grown to a magnificent golden crown. He sat at a large mahogany desk during presentations, roaring. The artistic style of the images also changes as the story progresses. So we'll provide some feedback to not only include Leo in parts 2 through 4, but also maintain the same image style as the first image. So we'll segue into the next feature, conversational image editing. In part 5, we also want Leo's hands to become lion paws. So part 2, okay, this looks a bit better. A teenage male lion growing up on the streets was now a young lion, learning to navigate the bustling intersections. I like this. And part 3, discovering the world of finance. It's an older lion now, young adult lion, substantial mane. Leo stands in awe of the trade building, towering skyscrapers, revolving doors. Now the artistic style does change a bit here. Confident young lion in the thick of his internship, diligently working, and now he's the king of the corporate jungle, a magnificent adult lion with a full regal mane, with his computer keyboard, stack of documents, and Chicago skyline in the background. And Gemini has replaced the human hands with lion paws. This is impressive. You can use natural language to edit or iterate on your images. It gives you a way to steer Gemini towards your desired image, whether you already have an idea in mind or you want to explore the possibilities. Let's look at editing images that you upload. So we'll go back to our Porsche story, upload an image that we downloaded. So this last image that we downloaded, and we'll drag this image into our space here and ask it to replace the yellow brake calipers with red brake calipers for both the front and rear wheels as seen in parts 1 and 2, ensuring that the calipers are seen behind the rims of the car. And this looks much better. Although in the first 2 images you can kind of tell they're brake calipers, but these look like it's just some red material inside the wheel. Now let's try editing this image. So we'll change the woman's shirt to a white button-up blouse and add a stylish bracelet around her right wrist. And it's added a couple bracelets here, and this looks great. The next feature we'll look at is text rendering. A lot of image generation models struggle with this, often resulting in poorly formatted, illegible characters, misspellings, and even missing words or letters. Flux is pretty good at rendering text and images. You can take a look at the video linked in the description, but we'll provide this prompt for a woman using both hands to hold up a whiteboard with the words, "Let's be great today." And that was actually pretty fast, 6.5 seconds. The font looks like it's been typed out by a computer, and part of her pinky on her right hand looks like it's either hidden or missing, and her seat's been lowered as we can't see as much of her upper body compared to the previous images. So we'll click on this writing utensil icon to edit the prompt and add this to use font that looks like it's been written by someone with nice handwriting, and change the aspect ratio to 4:5. So this looks a little bit better as far as the handwriting goes. Her body is in kind of an awkward position, but that's all right. Now, if you're already using Gemini 2.0 Flash Experimental in your code and want to add these image generation capabilities, you don't even have to change the reference to the model. You can still use Gemini-2.0-Flash-Experimental. You can also take a look at Google documentation for using native image generation with Google 2.0 Flash. I'll link this in the description. If you found this useful, like the video and leave a comment. If you want more content on AI, workflow automation, and analytics, subscribe to the channel.